Hi everyone, welcome back to the US CPA classes for Financial Accounting and Reporting exam. In this video, which is part 2 of accounting for changing prices, that is impact of inflation, we'll be covering in detail about relationship between journal pricing, level of accounting and the current accounting. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about relationship between journal price level accounting and the current accounting.
So just look at this diagram to understand the relationship between the general price level accounting and current accounting. So you have assets and liability that you need to do measurement, right? So when you use general price level accounting, so you use GAAP and historical cost, and then you ignore the general price level changes and adjust the amount of unit general purchasing power. So if you see the assets and liability, when you are going for general pricing level accounting, at that point of time, you will be using purchasing power index, right? And whatever is the adjustment come, that adjustment you consider in the current year income statement, right? On the other hand, current value accounting. So use current value, which is replacement value, and separate accounting for the impact of general price level, and no separate accounting for impact of general price level. So here, those general price level does not impact, whereas like when you are doing the replacement, so there would be an impact on the financial statement. Again, that impact is considered to the income statement. If you see the financial statement, element quality can be historical cost or the current value and measured in dollar or purchasing power unit. For example, assume the current gap require the assets measured at historical cost. So there are like two approaches, historical and the current value. But it can be measured in the purchasing power or dollar as the case you are using it. So for example, if you see this table, so approach 1 says the quality of financial statement item you are measuring is the historical cost. And then standard of measurement you are using is the dollar price. So this will be comes in where this will categorize. If I add one column here, insert the column. So this will fall in which category? Current value. Right? If you are using historical cost and the standard measure item used is the dollar, so that means you are using current value method.
करंट क्यों आ गया इसमें? तो सर जनरल प्राइस ही आना चाहिए ना, क्योंकि हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट है।
हाँ historical cost is
No, general price will be historical cost when you are using purchase power, unit purchase power. Got it?
ओके ओके सर, क्योंकि तभी तो वो बैलेंस हो पाएगा सीपीआई करके एंड वैल्यू को।
तो ये वाला टेबल और ऊपर वाला चार्ट एक बार फिर से बता दीजिए, नहीं समझ में आया।
सर मेरे को भी थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन है।
हाँ, sorry. One by one. Maybe what I can do, I can insert. Now I think it will be easy for you to understand. And then do. So, kind of real-time update.
सर हम ना वही बात कर रहे थे।
क्या?
मैं कहा सर अपडेट कि सर साथ साथ अपडेट कर देते हैं जो हम
हाँ, like like अगर कुछ input है which is like like can add some value to the notes, so why not? है ना?
यस सर
So
करेक्ट।
here, like coming back to this, the diagram relationship, right? General price level accounting here. So we have to do two things. The measurement is basically for assets and liability, right? So they are sitting on your balance sheet. So one, when you are using general price level accounting, this is your general price level accounting, right? And this is your current account. So assets and liability you have, which you need to measure, right? So one, if you are measuring using general price level of accounting, right? So in that you'll be taking historical cost as a base, right? And then you are multiplying them with the purchasing power index, right? That is one side comes to the general price level of accounting. On the other side, current value accounting. Current value accounting says you need to completely change the amount of the respective asset by asset or liability by liability basis on the current value, that is replacement value, right? So hence it will come under the current value accounting. Now coming to the impact of both. So when you are using general price level of accounting, and it will result into certain adjustment in your assets and liability. So where you will reflect those assets and liability adjustment. So you will reflect that into the income statement, right? Make sense? So far so good?
यस सर। और सर बट एक चीज है, टेबल में ये जो आपने लिखा है,
Hmm.
इग्नोर द जनरल प्राइस लेवल चेंजेस, गैप इंक्लूड्स हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट। वो जो
Hmm.
चार्ट आपने बनाया उसके
Hmm.
नीचे जो लेफ्ट वाला है, इग्नोर द जनरल प्राइस लेवल चेंजेस, उसके नेक्स्ट में लिखा है एडजस्ट द अमाउंट्स ऑफ जनरल परचेजिंग पावर।
Hmm.
तो सर ये इग्नोर क्यों करेंगे? करना ही पड़ेगा ना एडजस्ट तो।
Once again.
ये तो दोनों ऑप्शंस हैं, आप ऐसा कुछ कहना चाह रहे हैं? मैं उससे कंफ्यूज हूँ, बाकी समझ
Once.
में आ गया।
Once again. So gap include historical costs, ignore the general price level change, or adjust the amount to unit to general purchasing power. So you can choose either of these two.
एग्जैक्टली ऑप्शन है ना।
Yes.
यहाँ पे भी, यहाँ पे या तो आप सेपरेट अकाउंटिंग करोगे या नहीं करोगे, ठीक है।
हाँ. So those
ठीक है
are
सर,
options.
ठीक है। मतलब सर बात वही है, सपोज 100 का एसेट है, मेरा
Hmm.
परचेज प्राइस इंडेक्स 100 से 150 हो गया,
110
और
हो
100
गया.
रुपए का एसेट अब 150 पे लगेगा।
Hmm.
एग्जैक्टली।
Yes.
और वहां पे जैसे वो 100 करंट वैल्यू के केस में 100 रुपए एसेट की रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट सपोज 200 रुपए हो गई, तो अब 200 रुपए मेरे को दिखाने पड़ेंगे, और 100 रुपए का
Yes.
जो एडजस्टमेंट है वो
Hmm.
इनकम स्टेटमेंट में दिखेगा। ये आप
Yes.
कहना,
Yes.
ठीक है सर।
सर वो और लिख दो बीच।
यहाँ बीच में.
एग्जैक्टली।
हाँ और लिख दो, नहीं तो
हाँ
ऐसा
जी
लग
सर।
रहा है कि दोनों चीजें
या तो,
करनी है।
या सर ऑप्शन 1 ऑप्शन 2 ऐसा लिख सकते हैं, बिकॉज ये प्राइस मतलब स्टैंडर्ड ही रिकमेंडेटरी है, ये वाली बात है।
फिर ऑप्शन ही लगेगा, आई थिंक दैट विल बी बेटर. Right?
ये सर क्लियर है.
सही है.
Right, now it's clear, I think, right?
यस सर, अब वो 4 अप्रोचेस देख लेते हैं.
Hmm. So now these two approaches, like historical cost, when you are using dollar value or when you are using purchase price index, right? So again, it will result, yeah, you are right earlier, Kashish. So these two will go into the general pricing level and these two will result into the current value.
सर एक चीज थी, ये जो अप्रोच वाला टेबल आपने नीचे बनाया है, मतलब केस 1, केस 2, केस 3, केस 4, इसको सर रीड कैसे करना है? मतलब अप्रोच 1 क्या है कि अगर मतलब हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट पे वो एसेट खड़ा है, ठीक है, और स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ मेजरमेंट यूज्ड मतलब डॉलर्स, तो सर ये अच्छा मतलब यू आर इग्नोरिंग द चेंज, ऐसा आप कहना चाह रहे हैं पहले केस में, अप्रोच 1 में?
Yes, so this is like option, maybe like maybe I can write here instead of approach 1 to be like option 1,
1.
right?
ओके.
और
And then this will result
option 2.
into option 2, and again this will result into option 1, and this will result into option 2.
एग्जैक्टली.
Right?
ये सर क्लियर है.
यस सर, नाउ
Yeah,
इट्स ओके.
cool. Okay, so high level we understood what is general price level accounting and what is current value accounting. Now let's understand more in detail about general price level accounting and its impact. So, and then one more thing, if there is change in approach from 1 to 2, 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, then what will be the impact of change in approach? So if it's moving from 1 to 2, historical cost, dollar value to historical cost, unit of purchasing power, then the impact will be to incorporate the change in purchasing power of the dollar, but still measure at historical cost, which we have discussed. It will give the impact in the income statement for change from historical cost to the purchasing power. Make sense? If you are changing approach, which is historical cost approach, to the purchasing power, then there is a
सर एक बार ना मेरे को थोड़ी क्लैरिटी कम है, मैं एक बार आपको बताने की कोशिश करता हूँ जो मेरे को क्लैरिटी आई है. ठीक है, सपोज मेरी एसेट रिकॉर्डेड है हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट 100 रुपीज़ पे. अब मैं उसके अंदर ये देख रहा हूँ कि अगर मैं हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट पे उस एसेट को लेके चल रहा हूँ, और मैं जो जनरल प्राइस लेवल मेथड का मतलब है वो ये है कि उसमें जो नॉर्मल इन्फ्लेशन इकोनॉमी की होती है उसकी जो एडजस्टमेंट होनी चाहिए, मैं उस 100 रुपये को उस एडजस्टमेंट से ऐड करके अपनी बैलेंस शीट पे वो एसेट रिफ्लेक्ट कर दूंगा सर.
yes,
ठीक है.
yes,
दूसरा ये हो गया कि मैं परचेजिंग पावर पैरिटी के हिसाब से उसमें एडजस्टमेंट कर दूंगा. बट दोनों एक ही कैटेगरी में हो गए, जनरल प्राइस लेवल मेथड है ये कि भाई जो
Yes.
होना चाहिए.
yes,
और जो सर करंट वैल्यू है बस उसमें ये फ़र्क है, हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट 100 हो सकती है बट आपकी मार्केट में वैल्यू जो है रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट वो 125 की है, तो उस 125 के ऊपर वो एडजस्टमेंट होगी. चाहे वो जो एडजस्टमेंट होगी, एक तो परचेजिंग पावर होगी और दूसरी वही होगी जो नॉर्मल इन्फ्लेशन होगी। एम आई करेक्ट? या फिर मैं कुछ
like to the extent you are correct, but there's a small, like difference. So one is like the journal price level. So for example, in previous year, you have an asset which has value of $100,000, right? And now
Okay.
in the journal purchase power index, if you want to purchase that asset based on inflation impact, which is purchasing power impact, so the value of that should be $105,000, right? So that comes under the first category of general purchasing power impact. Second side is the replacement price, right? Previous year you have purchased an asset of $100,000. This year, for example, it may has increased to $125,000, right?
Okay.
Or it can go down to $80,000,
Okay.
right? So that impact is the current value impact,
ओके। उसमें
right?
कुछ लेकिन
Mhm.
हाँ, जो आपने कहा 80,000 हो गया या 125 हो गया, उसके अंदर फर्दर कोई एडजस्टमेंट भी होगी ना परचेजिंग पावर की, या मैं कुछ
Yes.
गलत समझ रहा
नहीं,
हूँ?
उसमें
होगी,
फर्दर एडजस्टमेंट
नहीं
नहीं।
होगी, ठीक है।
Right, to incorporate the change in a specific value of the item, but still measure those changes in a dollar value. And if it is moving from normal, like $100 to fourth category, which is your current value using purchase power index, then incorporate both the changes, purchasing power of the dollar and changes specific value of the item. Yes. So if it is moving, yeah, again, like these all are theoretical concepts. What I'm saying, what is this fourth point? Third point over here is saying the first you have $100, right? And now you are moving to the fourth option. Fourth option says both the impact, current value impact as well as purchasing power impact, which you are saying, Ayush. So
यस
in
यस,
that case of scenario, yes, we'll be considering both the changes in
करेक्ट, राइट, नाउ आई एम
right?
क्लियर।
So let's go through an illustration. So
Okay.
maybe
So
like with the
to
number we'll get.
illustrate just one thing.
Mhm.
ठीक है सर, ये पहले illustration देख लेते हैं, हो सकता है इसी से कवर हो जाए, ये भी है।
No, go
देखते हैं
ahead.
इस चीज
Like,
को।
what is your thoughts, you?
और सर मेरा पॉइंट सिर्फ ये था, वो चीज ठीक है, 1 to 2 आई गेस मैं ऐसा समझ सकता हूँ सर, 100 रुपए का लैंड था, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट ईयर वो लैंड और सपोज मतलब हो गया अपना 120 का, कंसिडरिंग नॉर्मल प्राइस इंडेक्स है ना, तो 100 से 120 पे आप लेके आए। अगर 1 to 3 मुझे बोलना है तो मैं देखूंगा कि उसकी रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट क्या है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब वो लैंड हो चुका है 145 का, ठीक है, तो 100 से आप 145 पे लेके आए। 1 to 4 के केस में मैं क्या देखूंगा कि जनरल प्राइस इंडेक्स 100 से कितने परसेंट बढ़ा है, वो तो लेना ही लेना है, प्लस उसकी रिप्लेसमेंट प्राइस भी मेरे को देखनी पड़ेगी, है ना।
Yes. You need to break it down at two level. You're right. All right. So AN company purchased a land on January 1st, year 1, and sold this in December year 2. The following information is relevant to the purchases and subsequent resale. So in January 1, purchase of land for $100,000 and purchase price index was $100. In December year 1, that is year end 1 accounting, so market price of the land is $112,000 and the journal price index was 120. And on December year 2, when land is sold, the market price was still 112,000, but journal price index was 140. Comparative income figures of year 1 and year 2 presented at the end of year 2 is as follows under each of the four approaches. First is your historical cost measure in dollar. So in year 1, the income was 0, right? In historical cost method, you might not be showing any income. But in current value measurement, it has increased from $100,000 to $112,000.
Yes, sir.
Right? So here is an income of $12,000, right? And current value measure in unit of purchasing price. That means you will be considering the impact of this $20 plus, in 2002. Okay. So in
सर ये 24 होना चाहिए ना 14 के अलावा.
in year 2, in year 2, right? So in year 2, the general price index level is 140, and if you multiply by this, so for 14,000, I'm still confused. Why just 14,000 has to be? Let's do the math. Let me take this into an Excel sheet. Right here, if you see this multiplied by 1.2. Okay, it's saying historical cost measured in dollar. The historical cost measured in dollar at year 1, there would not be any impact in the income statement, but in year 2 there will be an income of 112,000 because of the sale of assets. So in first method it's very much clear, very plain vanilla. In year 1 there would not be any income, but in year 2 we are selling at 112,000, so there will be a gain of $12,000. Right, now coming to the second method, which is historical cost measured in unit of purchasing power. So in this case also, in year 1, what it says, yeah, so your general price index level is 120, and your purchase of land, which you'll be reflecting at historical cost, is $100,000, and in year 2 there is a loss of 1466. So there is no change in the value is recognized until the sale of the land in year 2 is made. The loss is in excess of the price level adjusted historical cost, which is $100,000 multiplied by 140 divided by 120, which is 116,667 over the selling price of 112,000. So this is so let's go first one. Again, no change in the value recognized in the year, and in the year of sale there is a gain of 12,000, which we have already discussed. But here in second case of scenario, what they are saying, the change in price is from 140 to 120 to 140. So price level index, this divided by this, and this will get multiplied with the $100,000. So this should be your price, and whereas actually we have sold at $112,000. So there is a loss of 4667 by using this method of accounting. So what it says, historical cost measured in unit for purchasing power in year 2. In year 2, if you do the inflation price impact, which is $140 over $120, right? So your book value should be 16667, right? Whereas you sold at $112,000. So there's a loss of 4667. Does that make sense?
सर एक बार टेबल दिखाना एक बार.
1 second. Let's see. Let me bring this table out.
सर लेकिन ये जो सेकंड टेबल है, ये अप्रोच कौन सी हुई अपनी? अप्रोच 2 हुई? अप्रोच 2 में तो सिर्फ जनरल प्राइस लेवल चेंजेस होते, तो 1,20,000 में आना चाहिए ना।
Say that again. In year 2.
जी सर। सर सेकंड, हाँ जी, सेकंड कॉलम में सर जो टर्मिनोलॉजी यूज हुई है ये थोड़ी सी कंफ्यूज करती है। पहला तो बिल्कुल ठीक है, हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट मेजर्ड इन डॉलर्स, मतलब आपका कोई चेंज नहीं आएगा एक्सेप्ट फॉर एक्चुअल सेल, समझ में आया जी। सेकंड केस में सर हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट मेजर्ड इन यूनिट्स ऑफ परचेजिंग पावर। अब सर अच्छा, हिस्टोरिकल कॉस्ट को चेंज किया इन द यूनिट्स ऑफ परचेजिंग पावर इन ईयर टू डॉलर्स, है ना। तो सर अब ये अप्रोच 1 से अप्रोच 2 पे गए अपन, ये कहना चाह रहे हैं आप?
Yes.
अगर ठीक है सर, अगर अप्रोच 2 पे गए आप तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ 20% चेंज लेना चाहिए ना, 100 से 120 का इंडेक्स हुआ।
No, that was in year 1. But in year 2, like you have made a sale in year 2,
अच्छा,
you are moving
ओके
from
ओके
120 to 140.
ओके 120 टू 140 पे आप गए तो लैंड की वैल्यू उतनी होनी चाहिए, लेकिन अपनी एक्चुअल दिख रही है 1,12।
Yes.
उस हिसाब से इतना लॉस है, ठीक है।
Yes. Right.
तो
And now,
सर
लेकिन
एक
सर
बार
एक बार, हाँ
ये सर एक बार कैलकुलेशन दिखाना 4,777।
so what is saying? You are here in year 2, you are selling 140 divided by 120. This is your price index. So this price index impact you need to multiply with the land value. So your price should ideally be this in your books if you are using this second approach, and you have sold at 112,000. So this minus 112,000 at which you have sold. So this is your cost and this is your sales price 112. So
And
this
sir,
is your loss.
क्वेश्चन में तो सर जैसे मतलब ईयर 2 का था राइट, अगर हम ईयर 1 का हम कैलकुलेट करेंगे देन इट विल आल्सो सेम रहेगा ना, क्योंकि
no, in year 1 it
divided by
will go, yes,
100
it will go like this divided by
100 into 1 lakh
yes
minus 1,12,000, तो 8,000 आ जाएगा वो।
yes
8,000
लेकिन
का
सर वो
लॉस हो जाएगा
8,000 से दिखाया क्यों नहीं, 8,000 दिखाया क्यों नहीं?
that was a loss, notional loss here.
सर, लेकिन वो मेंशन कर सकते हैं ना हम यहाँ पे, तो क्लियर रहेगा फिर वो।
तो ईयर 2 में ही सेल आ रहा है तो वी कैन नॉट शो द लॉस,
Yes.
इसलिए नहीं दिखाया
So
वो।
no change in the value is recognized until the sales of
अच्छा
land
अच्छा,
in year
हाँ,
2.
जब तक सेल ही नहीं करा
ऊपर
हमने तो।
करना थोड़ा सा।
Once again, the loss is in excess of the price level adjusted the historical cost, which is this over the selling price of this. So that explanation I have mentioned over here.
सर इसमें यही लॉजिक है कि हमने जब फर्स्ट ईयर में लैंड ही नहीं हमने सोल्ड करा तो हम क्यों उसकी वो एंट्री वो करेंगे?
Yes, yes. So no change in the value is recognized until the sale is being made.
ठीक है सर, ये ठीक है, लेकिन सर जो आपने मतलब जनरल प्राइस लेवल अकाउंटिंग बोली थी उसमें तो आपने ये बोला था ना एसेट को रीस्टेट करा जाएगा जो परचेजिंग पावर है उसके हिसाब से, तो ईयर 1 के एंड पे तो रीस्टेट करना था ना 1,20,000 माइनस 1,12 पे।
Yes.
तो वो फिर क्यों नहीं करा गया यहाँ पे? ईयर 1 के एंड में भी तो करना चाहिए, जो कि आई गेस कशिश पूछ रहा था।
No, I got it. I got your point. So ideally it has to go 120 at year 1 and then it has to further go to 140 at year 2 and then difference should be the loss. You're right. So here it should be this 120 and then from 120 it has to be plus this this divided by this multiply by 120. Ideally yes, should be a 28,000. Yeah, just update this. So and here also the loss in excess of purchasing power, $100,000 120 divided by 100 multiply by 140 divided by 120. Right, so it may result into 140 140,000 over and above this. So the loss will be equal to $28,000. Right?
जी
Make
सर
sense?
ये 28 की फिगर कहाँ से आई है मतलब
This one. So the first year, the historical cost update should be 120, and year 2 it should be 140. And now your book value is 140, right, as per the general price method, and you are selling at $112,000. So 140 minus 112, just $28,000 loss. Make sense, Ashish?
सर 8,000 का तो समझ आ गया 20 यहाँ से 8,000 का तो सर वो समझ आ गया
140 minus 112,000. So you have a cost of $140,000 and you are selling at
okay
$112,000.
okay
So there is a loss of $28,000.
सर ये सेकंड ईयर का हुआ ना टोटल
Yes, yeah. Loss
और
you will book in second
फर्स्ट
year.
ईयर का तो 8,000 ही होगा
No, in first year it was a gain of $20,000. So in the first year there will be a gain of $20,000, which is like increase in the general price index.
सर जनरल प्राइस इंडेक्स का तो सही है लेकिन परचेजिंग पावर इंडेक्स का अगर हम करें
General price level index. General price level index is 120. Right? So you'll be multiplying this 120 with the historical cost. So the value of your asset should be $120,000 at year end 1. So how you will do the accounting of the same? By posting a gain.
तो ईयर 1 में 20,000 का गेन आएगा, यही कहना चाह रहे हैं आप ना?
Yes, yes, yes.
लेकिन सर वो जो मतलब आपका जो वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट है, हाँ
If you see here,
उसमें ईयर 1 में तो कुछ नहीं बोला गया है.
once again, restate the financial statement, reporting the item based on change in general pricing, and restatement financial under the general price level price is achieved through use of index applied to the financial statement to account for change in the monetary value, and it will give impact to the income statement.
सर मेरे हिसाब से तो बिल्कुल सही कर रखा है अभी जो हमने करी है अब कैलकुलेशन दिस इज ट्रू बिकॉज आपकी परचेज कॉस्ट हिस्टोरिकल दे रखी है, हमें सिर्फ इंडेक्स दे रखा है और मार्केट प्राइस दे रखी है, तो जो एक प्राइस है जिसको हमें कैलकुलेट करना है वो तो प्राइस लेवल इंडेक्स के हिसाब से हम निकालेंगे ही 120 पे 1 लाख के ऊपर उसके बेसिस पे ही हमें कैलकुलेट होगा. इसमें बेसिकली सिर्फ एक ही वैल्यू दे रखी है ना मार्केट प्राइस, इसके अलावा तो कोई वैल्यू ही नहीं है.
तो सेकंड ईयर का क्लियर हो गया, बट आकाश पहले ईयर में कोई चीज नहीं होगी क्योंकि सेल नहीं हुई है, इस वजह से आप कह रहे हो?
Yes, that is what, like the specific no change in the value is recognized until the sales has been made.
करेक्ट.
ओके
Right?
लेकिन सर ये चीज उससे कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट नहीं कर रही कि आप कह रहे थे ना कि अगर चेंज आता है प्राइस इंडेक्स में तो वो रिकॉग्नाइज करा जाएगा, वहां पे उसकी बात थोड़ी ना हुई थी कि जब तक एक्चुअल सेल नहीं होगी तब तक रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करेंगे.
Yeah, you can.
What we have already recognized that और उसी के बेसिस पे हम ईयर 2 में कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो आप कह रहे हो कि हमें वो रिकॉग्नाइज करना चाहिए था वो तो हमने $1 लाख के ऊपर कैलकुलेट कर लिया. जब हम एक्सेल देखेंगे 120 आ गया तो वो बुक्स में रिकॉर्डेड है, उसके ऊपर हम फर्दर 140 रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं. तो ये जो
No, what Shivam is saying, no, what Ayush, what Shivam is saying, this 20,000 also we need to record and book it here.
हाँ जी सर मेरा भी
हाँ
यही
जी.
आ रहा डाउट, मेरा भी यही है सर कि हमें 20,000 का करना चाहिए.
right? And then Shivam, if we go with that logic, then here it should be
8,000 ओनली करेक्ट. वो अल्टीमेटली इम्पैक्ट फाइनेंशियल पे उतना ही अमाउंट का रहेगा. मतलब आपको बस
$8,000,
क्लासिफिकेशन हाँ कैसे करना है वो वी कैन सी.
right? So two ways to show it. One is if you are considering the impact in the financial statement, then you will be considering $20,000 here, right? And you will be considering $8,000, which is you can say 20,000 minus
12,000.
12,000, and you'll be recognizing $8,000 gain, right, Shiv?
हाँ जी सर. हाँ जी सर.
Now coming to the third category, current value measured to the dollar. Current value measured to the dollar is replacement. So in year one, the market price was $112,000 compared to $100,000. So there itself, they have recognized the gain, right? And that has been sold to 112,000. So it has no gain or no loss in year two,
Yes, sir. ये तो clear है.
right?
Yes, clear है, सीधा है.
And here it should be total gain. If I say, it should be 28,000. Now last one is 100 and in the year one. So current value measured in unit of purchasing power in year two dollar amount. So let's understand the explanation. In year one, increase in the value adjusted for the price level change in year two is recognized in year one is 112,000 minus $100,000 multiplied by 140 divided by 120, that is 14,000. In year 2002, the loss is computed as excess of 112,000 multiplied by 140 divided by 120 of the selling price. Okay, so let's understand this again. Current value measure in unit of purchasing power. So here you have like this is your current value. So these two are considered as current value, right? So they are saying current value is measured at the price index, right? So in year one, against this $112,000, what is the price index? In year one, increase in the value adjusted for price level change in year two is recognized in year one, 112,000 minus $100,000. Ideally, it should be 120 divided by 100 multiplied by this, and the difference between these two, this minus this, should be recognized in year one as $8,000. Right, everyone?
Yes, sir. Clear है.
Right?
Yes.
And now in
Clear.
year two, the value is going to be
140 divided by 120 into 1 minus 120.
this divided by this multiplied by this. So this is your value, and you have made the actual sales at this minus 28.
नहीं सर थोड़ा चेंज देखना सर. Sir 140 divided by 120 into 1, right?
Sorry.
140.
For this 140. Yeah, this is simple math which you have done earlier also, which result into $140,000 to the value, right? And you are selling at 112,000. So the difference is $28,000.
सर हमने इसको ऐसे क्या नहीं करा 140 डिवाइडेड बाय 120 इनटू 1 लाख ठीक है उसमें से जो आएगा फिर
No,
माइनस
because like
112
your book value is $120,000, not 1 lakh. 1 lakh you have already changed in year one
अच्छा हाँ
to
हाँ
120,
ओके ओके ओके
right? So you have already
हम्म
recognized that $20,000 minus the market price, which is $8,000,
ओके ओके गॉट
right? Shivam, Ayush, Akash.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hmm? So here you have net 20,000. I'll update this explanation. Right, I know it's kind of complex. Okay, so FASB has issued like ASC 255, which is changing price, which represent the system whereby the companies may present selected information concerning the income of change in price on the financial statement, and these provisions are not mandatory to consider as a part of primary financial statement. So these are, like I said earlier, these all are recommendatory standards, but not mandatory standard to be part of the primary financial information or primary financial statement. So now coming to the journal price level accounting for more detail. So journal price level accounting involve the restatement of financial statement for the effect of inflation. This adjustment is useful in a period of high inflation when it would otherwise be difficult to determine the true financial condition. So, like when you are generally considering this accounting standard, when there is a high inflation, right? If there is a normal inflation of 2%, 3%, 4%, then generally we are not using it because it does not have much material impact, right? There are a few definitions which you need to keep in mind. First one is monetary item. What is monetary item? Any idea? Any idea what is monetary item?
सर मॉनेटरी टर्म्स लाइक डॉलर्स में किसी भी चीज मतलब वैल्यू में के वो होना
आयुष, आकाश,
सर ये
सर
पढ़ा
क्वांटिटेटिव
था
टर्म में होना
नहीं सर ये मैंने पढ़ा था इंडियस में बिल्कुल याद नहीं आ रहा अभी
Shivam,
पढ़ा तो
any
था
idea
पक्का
what is
पढ़ा था
monetary items?
सर इंडियस 21 फॉरेन एक्सचेंज आइटम्स के हिसाब से अगर वो चीज देखी जाए तो शायद वो अलग मतलब निकलेगा जो आकाश बोल रहा
No,
है
like
बट
what is
यहाँ
generally
तो
called
हाँ
monetary item?
सर कन्वर्जन इनटू कैश रहता है जो वहां
Yes,
वाली डेफिनेशन याद है
yes, the assets which can easily convert into cash and the liability
कैश
which can easily convert into cash is called monetary unit, which is like cash, cash
डेटर्स हैं
equivalent.
क्रेडिटर्स हैं
Absolutely right, absolutely right. Your
एग्जैक्टली
current assets and your current liability is generally considered as monetary item. What is non-monetary item? Your fixed assets, property, plant, equipments, or non-current liabilities and equities, right? And what is purchasing power gain and loss?
तो जो अपनी मतलब जो चेंज आएगा अपनी पावर में फॉर एग्जांपल आप 100 का एसेट आप 120 पे खरीद सकते हो तो 20 रुपए का आई गेस चेंज है
Hmm.
एक कमोडिटी को आप 120 में बाय कर सकते हो
Yes. So that is
सर
purchasing power loss.
परचेजिंग पावर में अगर कोई चीज
Mm-hmm.
हमारी आवाज जा नहीं रही है
बोलो बोलो आयुष. आयुष, you are saying something?
आई वाज सेइंग कि परचेजिंग पावर गेन और लॉस सिंपली मींस मेरे को जो पढ़ के समझ आ रहा है कि परचेजिंग कंज्यूमर की परचेजिंग पावर में अगर कुछ चेंज हो रहा है इधर इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज ड्यू टू इन्फ्लेशन या डिफ्लेशन सो ये उसको रेफर कर रहा है
Yes, very true. So let's quickly take a look. Monetary item is an assets and liability carrying value in dollars that will not change in future. So currently we have dollar value in hand. So that's generally considered current assets and current liability. Non-monetary item are the balance sheet assets and liability that are not in cash or cannot be easily converted into cash. So non-monetary assets include your fixed assets such as property, plant, equipment, as well as intangible items such as goodwill. Purchasing power gain and loss, it refers to decrease or increase in how much consumer can buy with a given amount of money today and maybe in future period or in the past period, or consumer gain in purchasing power when the price decrease. So they lost the purchasing power when price increase. For example, if in case of deflation, right? So back in if you remember in 2016, I think there was a demonetization of the currency, right? Do you remember 8th November 2016?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
there was a demonetization of currency. So that has resulted into break down the real estate market, right? And if you have seen, like in January 2017 to almost October 2017, the prices of real estate has gone down, right? Have you guys experienced any such thing, or you guys remember,
Yes, sir.
right?
और
So
अब
at
सर
that, mm-hmm.
रियल एस्टेट के प्राइसेस
Yeah, sorry.
आई एम सेइंग कि तब तो बहुत ज़्यादा डिफ्लेट हो गए थे रियल एस्टेट के प्राइसेस और अब पीक पे हैं रियल एस्टेट के प्राइसेस
Yes, yes. So at that point of time, there was a correction of 20 to 30% in the real estate prices, right? So at that point of time, with less money, if you have in your hand, you would be having a better purchasing power, right? So this is what it says: consumer gain purchasing power when price decreases. On the other hand, like what property you have purchased in last year, and as the prices are increasing period over period, with the same amount, you cannot purchase that property now. So they lost the purchasing power when the price increase, right? So now there's a formula of journal price level adjustment. How you make a journal price level adjustment? Journal price level adjustment amount is equal to historical amount, which is lying in your books of accounts, multiply by current index divided by index at the point of origination, which we have discussed in this example also, right? If you remember, like we have already done this formula use.
Right.
So there's a small note. Purchasing power gain and loss is recorded as a separate line item in income statement. So if you are using this standard and that has result into any change in your income or losses, so then you need to disclose that as a separate line item in your income statement. It should not be clubbed with the miscellaneous income or miscellaneous losses, right? It has to be disclosed separately. There's an
सर
example.
एक सॉरी मेरे से मिस हो गया परचेजिंग पावर गेन और लॉस कैलकुलेट कैसे होगा कि हम उसको रिकॉर्ड करेंगे
Right, purchasing power gain and loss will be based on purchase price index, right? If the previous year purchase price index, like in our example here, was 100 and current year it is 120, that means 20% reduction because of inflation. That means you can purchase less. To purchase the same item, you require $120 instead of $100, right? And in year 3, let's say there is a deflation. For example, in the COVID COVID time, right? COVID time, there was a deflation in the US market, and Indian market also almost 8 quarter was showing a negative impact, right? So there was, people who are investing their money more on healthcare, even though some of them they have sold their land or building or machineries, or you can say cars, or maybe their houses, just to safeguard themselves. Right? At that point of time, if you see on the other side, one side you can say healthcare people were investing, but on other side they were cutting short. Right? So that has resulted into decrease in the prices on the other items. For example, real estate. Right? So the general price index level, let's assume this year 2 is COVID scenario. It has gone down to 105. Right? So that means the original which you have 100, or maybe let's say it gone down to 95. So it has result into 17,000 of loss.
Got it. ठीक है sir.
There's an illustration to it. Financial statement and other data of P&L company are presented as follows. P and Q are presented as follows. The step and computation necessary to adjust the conventional financial statement to the PLFAS are included in the following chart. So general information given to you is fiscal year, they have is Jan to December. Price index year 1, year 2, year 3 is 90, 98 and 110. So unadjusted financial statement of year 2 has been as follows. You have assets which include current assets as well as fixed assets, and you have liabilities which include current liability and non-current liability. Then you have shareholder equity, which is including stock and retained earning. And in income statement you have revenue, expenses, depreciation, total expense and net income, which is given to you. So current assets and liability are considered as monetary item, like we have discussed earlier also. So current assets and current liability, which is being convertible into the cash within the period of 90 days, are considered as monetary item. Fixed assets and non-current liability are considered to be non-monetary item. Right? So far, so good. Like everyone understood the question side. Now coming to the solution part. In the solution part, treatment of monetary item, there is no restatement required because they are in actual cash position. Right? Kashish, Shivam, Ayush.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes
Right.
sir.
And now coming to the restatement of non-monetary item. So non-monetary item are converted by a ratio of current index, which is numerator, over the index at the date of origination, which is 110 to 90. So your index was 110 to 90. So which is your fixed assets with value at 2, 4 times, 5 times 4. And your stock will also go in a same fashion, $50,000 in year 1 and $56,000 in year 2, and the total is 117,233. So in the capital stock, here you need to mention Y1 $50,000, Y2. So that total result into 100,000. Right. So that capital stock here valued like this. Assume that the following. So fixed assets is acquired in year 1. Capital stock is 1/2 in year 1 and 1/2 in year 2, which you have mentioned above directly. And then preparation of the balance sheet and price level adjustment figure used with the retained earnings. So your current assets is same, there is no change in it, but your fixed assets will go up to 44,444. Their total assets are 344,444, right? And your current liability is same as 50,000. Non-current liability is 75,000. That should also be have been adjusted. So this non-current liability also need to be adjusted. So I think restatement of non-monetary item. Here if you see, once again, I would say in here we will do non-current liability as well. So which was like $75,000 multiplied by 110 divided by 90. How much is it? Can someone do math for me? Kashish, Ayush?
Sir, yes, sir, doing.
Huh?
Divided by
91,666.
91,666, right? So here also in the non-current liability, it should come 91,666, right? And your capital stock retained earning, it's already updated over here. Capital stock we have done, and retained earning also you need to do the calculation of the same.
सर वो 75 वाला कहाँ से आया था नॉन करंट में?
This non-current liability is 75,000.
अच्छा हाँ.
Right, so we need to restate that, and you have a retained earning of $75,000. Let's assume year 1 is 37500, and year 2 is also 37500. Let's assume this is coming out for the retained earning. So here also we will do the same.
हो जाएगा सर 91,666.
So here you have 375. Ayush, can you do the math for me?
Yes, sir.
1 second. 37,500 into
110.
So this divided by 90.
3750 multiplied by 110 divided by 90.
8,333.
345, 8,333.
45
8,333.
833.
Yes.
And what about this one?
Yes, sir.
This divided by 98.
8.
42,091.
2091. And what will be the total?
Yes, 45, 87,924.
87,924. And this will be your retained earning. So here will be 87,924. And then there would be this is your retained earning, and then plus in the retained earning there would be an adjustment
इनका डिफरेंस उसमें चला जाएगा.
How much will that be? That will be the difference between all these numbers.
Balancing
So
figure.
34444 344,000
444
minus your current liability minus your non-current liability minus your capital stock. How much will it be?
1 second, sir. 91,666
माइनस 50,000 होगा ना?
कर
It
दिया
will be 344,123 minus your 50,000 minus 91,666 minus 117,233 minus 87,924.
16,666.
How much is it?
16,666.
16,123, right? Okay. So 1 second, if you see here, we have taken this. Okay. So 344,444 minus 50,000 minus 91,123 3 times 6 minus 117,233 minus 87,924. Are you sure?
मैंने शायद -102 कर दिया था.
I'll do the math over here again. So we have total assets of 344,123 total assets, right? Right, everyone?
Yes,
And
sir.
then you have current liability of 50,000, right? And then you have non-current liability, which has resulted into minus 91,666, right? And then you have capital stock. How much is it? Minus 117,233, right? Then you already have retained earning, which is 87,924 minus 87,924. So it will be negative. So it will be loss, right? 2,379 will be the loss. So adjustment on account of change in general price index will be this 2,379.
सर ये थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो गया मैं. ये रिटेन्ड अर्निंग्स 102 211 क्यों नहीं लिए?
नहीं, 102 211 नहीं लेंगे. It will come as this two.
87,924.
No, it has to be this minus this. So it has to be 855,45, right? Then your total will tie to 344,444, right?
Okay.
Makes sense, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
सर एक बार में ये
Yes, sir.
पेस्ट कर दोगे हमने कैसे निकाला हम
So that we have, here we have all done the calculation. So if you see like fixed asset, $200,000 multiplied by 110 divided by 90. Non-current, we have 75,000, and that also we did the same mathematics. And for capital stock, we have year 1 50,000, year 2 50,000. So accordingly we did. And retain earning also for year 1 37,500, year 2 37,500. So we did the same math, right? So when total assets minus total liability minus equity, right, whatever is the difference will come as an adjustment to the retained earning, right? So that we have mentioned over here, right, Kashish?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ayush, Shivam?
Yes, sir.
हाँ जी सर.
सर ब्रेक लिया सर एक.
हाँ, ठीक है. So it's around 12:35. We can come back at 1 o'clock.
ठीक है सर, डन.